I wanted to move on. Hey, King Chaos. Hey, Crag. I wanted to move on and talk about classic mini systems. Oh God, the Vectrex. We were talking about the Vectrex a second ago. That might actually transition into this next conversation. There was a notification earlier that people apparently are asking for a Philips CDI classic mini system. I don't know, for meme quality maybe. It's not like the system was iconic enough that why? It's not like the system was iconic enough. I mean, it is iconic. No, you know what? It's not iconic. At this point, it's infamous. That's a much better word for it at this point than iconic. They put out a thing and said that people wanted a CDI classic, and then there was a list of games that they would want on it. Philips responded. There was a tweet from Philips that said that they have no plans for something like that, but I don't. It seemed like Philips said no while simultaneously not wanting to actually shut the idea down completely. If you find it was Philips Care is the Twitter page. I think it's at Philips Care. They're the ones that responded to it. But and now there's that one that people are talking about. There is an Intellivision one coming out. There is actually an Intellivision Classic Mini coming out. And it made me wonder what other systems would I want to see minis of. I just put this water down up here. I'm putting it on the floor, but the bottle closes. Isn't it adorable? I should put a peach crown on her and see what happens. Oh, we actually have artwork for what happens to a boo. They left the door open. Yeah, Minion. They left the door open. They didn't slam the door on the idea. There's a little crack in the doorway I feel like if somebody were to approach them and say, listen, we did have to work already, I feel like Philips would say, you know what? What the hell? But so there's the Intellivision one, there's that Philips CDI one. It got me thinking what systems I think would be viable to make these classics of. I'm going to say the ones right now that I don't think are viable. And I think everybody's going to attack me the second I say this. I don't think a GameCube Mini is viable. I just don't. I think the games are too large. I think that while the system itself was fantastic. I think that while the system itself was fantastic, I don't think it was popular enough outside of the Nintendo fan base to warrant a system. I don't think the system did a lot of groundbreaking things. I just don't think that the GameCube works as a mini system. Obviously the PS2 and stuff, no. Even years down the line, I don't think any of that. At this point, why is there a second sword in my name? At this point, who knows? Maybe down the line. Other systems that I don't think I need to see versions of. I don't need a Magnavox Odyssey Mini. I love my retro games. I just don't need it. I don't think I need an Atari 7800 Mini. Just not justifiable. Jaguar. I get the Jaguar the Jaguar is another meme-tastic system. But I don't think there's anything legitimately worth making a Jaguar Mini. I don't think there is. I just don't. I can't. I can't. Ones that I do want to, a Windows 95 Mini. Ones that I do want to see. Everything else other than that, I think a Saturn Mini would be fantastic. Yes, it was not as popular, but it was well known. And I think that you run the chance to sell an NX Mini. I think that with a Saturn Mini, you're going to run into a situation where you had a lot of people who had to choose between the PlayStation and the Saturn and the 64 and went with one or the other two because they were readily available, because they were more popular, and quite frankly, because the games were better. But I think Saturn had enough of an interest where people would say, oh, a Saturn Mini, I can check some of these games out. I always kind of wanted to play it and never had the option to. I think you would sell with a Saturn Mini. Sega's not going to do one as they can't get past the Gen. Well, no, Lizard at Games was doing the Genesis one, and now they're not anymore. Sega in-house is actually building the new Genesis or the Mega Drive Mini. Or I guess Genesis Mini. I guess they're doing a US one also. So we may actually get a very decent one. I just want a way to play Saturn games. I would buy a Saturn Mini in a heartbeat. Absolutely. The Switch Mini in 20 years. Yeah, it'll be this big. It'll be this big, and this will be the cover that they sell for it. A Master System Mini. Yes. I think a Master System Mini falls under the same category as the Saturn, where a lot of people who never had a chance to play it but were always interested in it will finally get the chance to play it. I think a Master System Mini would absolutely sell. Again, these things need to sell for like $60 to $80. The PlayStation Classic is coming out. It's $100, and it's already off-putting to people because of the $100 price tag, despite the fact that the games are much larger and for this current generation, more iconic. Tiger Gamecom Mini. I think the point of these mini consoles isn't just to relive some of those games from your childhood, but it's a great way to introduce a younger audience. I think some people forget. Spectre, I think most people forget that part. And I think if anybody opens their mouth or types with their fingers and says, well, I already have these games. I can already get these games on the PS4. I can already then you're missing the point of the system altogether. Then it's not, I have said this multiple times. If you have these games at home, if you have a PS3 with all these PS1 games, if you've got a Super Nintendo collection and you've got all the Super Nintendo games, this is not meant for you. It is meant for people who played it a long time ago, got rid of all that stuff, and want to get back into it, or for a new generation of people who maybe want to get their kids into it. I have a friend who, he has 3 kids. He's a computer guy. He's got a RetroPie already set up. He's got all of that stuff. He's got a couple of systems. He still bought the SNES and the NES Classic because it was a great way to introduce his kids to it. It was an easy, compact way to introduce the kids to it. Give me those Wonder Boy games. Oh, I saw somebody said a Wonder Swan Mini. Dude, I would kill for a Wonder Swan Mini. And a Game Boy Mini. There was rumor about that before, that there was going to be a Game Boy Mini or a Game Boy Classic that was going to be either a Game Boy or Game Boy Pocket size, which I would have preferred Game Boy Pocket size, even with my giant hands. That was going to have the games on it. So it was going to be a portable system with a lithium rechargeable battery, but then it was going to have the games on it. I think that's a spectacular idea. I think that's a fantastic idea. I would absolutely love to see one of those. Master System would have been way cheaper. I'm only getting PS1 Classic because I got birthday money from GameStop. Well, I can already... Shot. I would love a GBA Mini. Yeah, I think a GBA Mini would be great. I wonder how iconic it is outside of the Nintendo fan base. I think the DS was more I think the DS had a further reach than the Game Boy Advance did when it came to outside of the Nintendo fan. See, that's the one thing that I look for. When you talk about something like the PSP Go or the PlayStation Go, whatever, the little handheld system that nobody remembers existed anymore, even the Vita, to a large extent. I think that when you talk about selling that to people, your primary audience is going to be the pre-existing PlayStation fan base. I think that that's who those people are. When you talk about something like the 3DS, obviously you're selling it to the Nintendo fan base, but people who are outside of those fan bases, of that particular fan base, will also buy a 3DS because it had wide reach. You know, and I think that's what's selling the people on the Switch so much, because of the portability and because of the first party games and them being portable. I think is a great thing, and the size of the system and everything. I think the Switch is reaching audiences outside of the Nintendo fan base. Look at the Wii. The Wii sold 100 million systems. That clearly went way outside of its Nintendo fan base, to people who might have never bought a Nintendo product, but said, "Whoa, this thing looks pretty cool. I'm gonna buy this." I think that's one thing that you have to really try and do with these mini systems. Is you make a PlayStation Classic and you're gonna sell it to PlayStation fans. That's clear. But is there anything that's iconic enough on it that's going to sell outside of that fan base? You know, and that's an important feature to have. If you can go outside that fan base, that's fine. I think that's why the Nintendo ones kind of do so well. Even the people who have moved on to PlayStation because they hate Nintendo for whatever reason, they'll go back and they'll buy the SNES and NES Classic and say, "Oh my God, I don't like Nintendo now, but I sure loved when these things were out." You know, so something like a Game Boy Classic would absolutely sell well outside of its fan base. I want it, but I think it is very niche. TurboGrafx. I think a TurboGrafx Classic would be great. Hell, you in the TurboGrafx Classic, you just put every game on there. Just put every single U.S. release game on there, and you'll sell it. Let me go back here and see some of these. I personally want them for convenience reasons. Absolutely. What is that one console that was really good at copying arcades? MAME? or King Chaos? Are you talking about the Neo Geo or the Atari 5200? Because the 5200 actually had really good games on it, but the hardware was ridiculous. I wouldn't mind a 5200 Mini, just because they were near arcade quality games for a lot of those games. They were fantastic. A 5200 Mini, a Coleco Mini. I think a Coleco Mini would be great. Definitely say that video games are not going anywhere anytime soon. Oh yeah, no. We're not. The video games aren't going anywhere. Cosmic Haru, by the way. Hello. If we get a mini of the NES Mini, would be the NES Mini. No. The Mini Do. Mini DU, is that the one that means two? Do? Looks like Dukes. I'm gonna guess you mean the Saturn or Dreamcast. A Sega made arcade board. Oh, arcade board was so. Oh wait. Oh. Okay, you're talking about that. The Wii had bowling. Come on, that's where it's at. What if future mini consoles could have built-in games along with cartridge slot to play? Minion, that's what I kind of wanted these to have. You know what? I don't even need a cartridge slot to play games. I just need a way to add more an official way to add more games to the system. I think that the SNES and the NES Classics, one of the things that I wished that they did was that I could hook it up to my home system, to my Wii U at the time, or now my Switch, connect it to my eShop account, and the games that I buy and download to my virtual console on the Wii U, I could have also downloaded to my Mini. I don't understand why that was not a feature that was added. Hell yeah, TurboGrafx. Neo Geo Mini. Well, the Neo Geo Mini, they just did the SNK Mini, which is kind of a Neo Geo machine. It's got a lot of Neo Geo and SNK games on there. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, that is a Neo Geo Mini. The Neo Geo Mini just came out. I'm thinking of the SNK Classics game that's also coming out, but that's coming out on the Switch and a couple other systems. Yeah, there is a Neo Geo Classic. It's got 40 games. No, is it 40 games? Oh, Indigo, hello. Indigo, I saw you there, but I also saw that you commented that you got 2 swords by your name. Hold on, I'm blasting through here. Blasting through the comments. Yeah, do is first for 2. See, Mini do. NES Mini do. Because money. There was a Genesis one that had a cartridge slot. Spectre, the only problem with that is that was made by At Games, and they are terrible. They are actually pretty bad with that stuff. Yeah, it was a great idea, but the emulation on it was god awful. We really got a deal. You get all the games in the Wii U and other games. Yeah, I think I thought that's what it was gonna do. You know, because that's the biggest thing with a lot of these retro games, that with the original games, you do like the idea of taking them on the go, especially when you've already got a small stable of handheld systems. You know, I mean, obviously the NES and SNES Classic aren't portable or handheld systems, but it would be nice to. When I go away, a lot of the time I'll bring one with me. You know, when we go to conventions and stuff, I bring it with me. It's easy to hook up to the TV. It's easy to have all of those games to play, and it's easy to take it down and take it home. The Neo Geo Mini has about 9 or 10 KOF games. So okay. Does it have that many King of Fighters games on there? Huh. Apparently At Games is no... Yeah, they're not... We were talking about that earlier. They're not going to make the Mini anymore. Sega is handling it now, so we're going to get a quality product. At the very least, I want a product that doesn't feel like cheap plastic. I know that it's just the plastic casing and it doesn't mean anything, but it's a first impression, and it's a very impactful first impression when you pick it up and it feels like a crappy toy. You know, I want it to... Can you fucking... no, lady, there was no King of Fighters 69 or KOF 69. Should have a 3DS classic with all the Fire Emblem games on it. Portable video games is one of the smartest video games idea. Oh my god, and sleep mode as well. Greg said a swear. Yeah, I know, Indigo. I didn't say a swear. I was reading a swear. There's a difference. I could curse if I'm saying a line from a movie. But yeah, other classic systems I would have. No, I would not have a Virtual Boy system. I'm looking around my room. I would not have a classic Virtual Boy system. I would, however, if and when Nintendo does anything sort of VR related, I would like for the Virtual Boy games to come to it. Because you gotta. Like, that's it. You gotta. I want that Virtual Boy Mario. That wasn't Wario's Woods, was it? No. Oh my god, which Wario game was it? Froban, yeah, you guys are, well, we're still going, so you're not technically, you didn't miss it. Virtual Boy games all in one cart. Man, yeah, there was only 22 games total, and only 14 of them or so came out to the US. Was it Wario Land? Wario Land. Yeah, Wario. Was there a Wario Tennis? There's a Mario Tennis. That I think that came with the system. I only have that and Vertical Force, which was actually a really good shooter. Did you ever get a chance to play? There was a Saturn game. I think it was on PlayStation also. A shooter called Layer Section, which in the Saturn it was called Galactic Attack, and it had like foreground and backgrounds. That's basically what Vertical Force was. It's a very good game. There was an emulator in the works for the Virtual Boy called the Google Cardboard. Oh boy. What's the discussion? Mendez, we're talking about mini systems you would like to see. The three, okay, a 3DO mini is not necessary, but I think it would be funny. Like I said, I'm looking at some of my other systems. I think. Well, who am I kidding? I don't think it's possible. I think there was just some updates on it, so I don't think it's possible. A Dreamcast mini would be spectacular. Dreamcast mini. Come on, everybody. Dreamcast mini with an Ethernet port, so you can play PSO online. Oh my god! What do you think, buddy? The Ouya mini. I have an Ouya too, and I can't get it to work anymore. It doesn't work. So you're discussing Virtual Boy Mini Nintendo VB service that uses VR devices. N64. N64. I believe we're going to get an N64 mini. It's a dangerous. Look at the camera. Yeah, it's a Saturn. Yeah, Froban, we were talking about that. A Saturn mini would be amazing. I gotta say that's probably it. I can't imagine another classic system that deserves a mini. No, I'll tell you what I would like. This is gonna seem weird. We keep getting those At Games Atari systems, the Atari 2600 systems with more and more and more games on it. I say that because I say more and more and more because they're up to like 8 or 9 now. I think they all use composite output. Can we get one with an HDMI output, please? There you go. That's it. Nintendo. Oh my God, Nintendo Labo Classic Mini. There we go. Wait, do I have a Labo Mini around here? No, I do not. I do not have a small piece of cardboard to emulate a Labo Mini. Oh, the Sega Pluto. I thought the Pluto became something. Or was it a rumor, or did it become something? Because apparently there were 1 or 2 of the Neptunes, which was supposed to be a rumor, but apparently exists. Favorite Sailor Scout. Oh, there you go. So what? Sega Venus? Aren't HDMI port? HDMI ports, I believe, are relatively cheap to put in. I think the problem is the program to upscale everything to use it. I am not a super technical guy, so I couldn't tell you one way or another, but I just want something that outputs at HDMI because it's a lot easier. No, it's Rye. It's not Sailor Venus. It's Sega Venus and Sega Jupiter and Sega Mercury. And say if there's a Sega Scouts. I love it. When's the Sega Earth? The Neptune just became a weird JRPG series. Yeah, Froban, a Game Boy Mini would be great. We were talking about that one before. Eventually, a PSP Mini might also be a little interesting. But I don't know. I think at that point, I think when you're going for a PSP Mini, you're just kind of reaching at this point. Besides, I think we all can agree that the Sega Scouts are way more interesting than the one called Sega Moon. All right, that actually does sound kind of cool. All right, so I want to draw the Sega Scout. Yeah, go ahead and draw the Sega Scouts. They are Sailor Moon variations of Sega. They are personified Sega systems. Oh my god. Oh my god. I wonder what it would cost to commission that. Personified Sega systems, but in the Sailor Moon art style, so that they are the Sega Scouts. It's called the Game Boy Micro. Well, Froban, somebody mentioned earlier a Game Boy Micro. I guess it would be like this big. Like, you need little toothpicks in order to play the games. The Vita Mini, it's just nothing but weird. Yeah, the Vita Mini is just Crunchyroll on your cell phone.